Welcome to the Tech Mobility Podcast, brought to you by Playbook Investors Network, your strategic partner for unstoppable growth. Visit pincommunity.org to get started.
I'm Ken Chester. On the docket, my review and impressions of the Jeep Wagoneer S, America's hidden economic crisis, and transforming car buying with instant payments. From the Tech Mobility News Desk. We've spent a lot of time talking about the retrenchment of EV sales in the shadow of the ending of the EV tax credit. What I want to talk a little bit about is automotive decisions, automotive finance, just how what would seem slight changes to you ends up being millions, if not billions of dollars to automakers. Because I really don't think people totally understand just how money works when it comes to automobile manufacturing. I'd hear people say, well, you know, it wouldn't cost the automakers that much. It would only cost them $10 a vehicle. Okay, all right. Let me deal with $10 a vehicle. Just for an example. And it matters anything, whether it's a safety feature, a performance feature, a cosmetic feature, some sort of thing that makes you a little more comfortable. $10 a feature, $10 a vehicle. The average automobile assembly plant runs full out 250,000 units a year. That's running at full capacity. Most that, if they're building a popular vehicle, is probably operating above that. Some are operating at up over 300,000 units, but they're really pushing. At $10 a unit per year, that is $2.5 million. Let that sink in just for that. 2.5 million with an M dollars. You multiply that over years and stuff, and that gets to be serious money really fast. I'm talking about an industry that argues over 1/10 of a cent per unit, that are looking real hard at what everything costs. And bear in mind that your average automobile assembly plant is dealing with between 700 to 1,500 individual suppliers from around the globe. The average vehicle has 15,000 parts in it. 15,000. They did a study back in the 70s, just to give you an idea, and this is 50 years ago. They looked at a brand new $5,000 mid-size Ford, brand new off the line, $5,000. They carved it up and sold the parts, it'd be worth $35,000. Just to give you an idea of what this is like. Now, the reason I bring this up is that I lamented Ford's decision to stop making the Lightning, the Ford Lightning. Ford did something else, and I want to talk about it because I want you to understand the economics of what they're getting ready to do. Ford just recently announced plans to increase production of their popular F-150 and F-Series Super Duty production by more than 50,000 trucks this year to meet demand and recover production losses due to a supplier plant fire. Let me stop right here. You know, since about 2014, the cargo bed of most Ford pickups is aluminum. There was one plant in New York that provided that aluminum they needed. They had a fire in that plant towards the end of last year, and Ford lost some production as a result. So part of this expansion is regain that production plus grow the business. So what does this mean? And these are gasoline-powered trucks, in case you were wondering. I want to be real clear about that. The company plans to add a third crew at Dearborn Truck in Michigan and the Ford Rouge Complex in Michigan for F-150 production. And they're going to add additional employees at Kentucky Truck in Louisville, and that's just north of Louisville. I've driven past the plant here about 3 months ago, for F-Series Super Duty assembly. Ford will add 900 new jobs at the Ford Rouge Complex and 100 new positions at the Kentucky Truck plant. Think about this. Most of those jobs will probably be union jobs. Given where their contracts are at, that's probably a $50,000 or $60,000 job each, not counting bonuses. Good pay if you can get it. Ford's explanation was increasing production to meet strong customer demand, and they expect to ramp up now. They're doing this right now. It breaks out to be 45,000 F-150s gas and hybrid trucks this year, and about 5,000 Super Duties. Let me give you the numbers on a Super Duty, just to give you an idea. And I'm only using the average new vehicle price. The Super Duties go for more, but I'm going to just use average, just to give you an idea. Kentucky Truck in Louisville, Ford spending money to increase F-Series Super Duty assembly line speed by 1 job an hour. It don't sound much, does it? 1 job an hour. 1 job an hour. Ford says that will produce an additional 5,000 trucks a year and add 100 employees. What does that mean to Ford? If you take the average price of an average new vehicle, and I'm going to stick there, and like I said, the Super Duties go for more. That's $250 million at Louisville in new revenue. $250 million. Let that sink in. 1 job an hour. Building 1 more truck an hour. 1 more. $250 million. And it's probably more. In Dearborn, where they're going to build an additional 45,000 F-150s this year. Again, using the same premise, $50,000, and most Super Duties go for more. Not all, but Super Duties, F-150s go for more. Using the same example. 45,000 trucks. That is $2.250 billion with a B. That is $2.25 billion. That's what this is. So you're looking at this expansion will bring to the Ford Motor Company. It's going to cost them $60 million to update Kentucky Truck. I don't think they said how much they was going to spend over at in Dearborn, but that's going to generate just a Kentucky Truck for a $60 million investment. They're going to make $250 million a year. 1 more truck an hour. 1 more. They said demand is strong. People want to buy these trucks. Regardless of your Ford, Chevy, or Ram owner, right now, Ford's saying, hey, we got people want to build these. We've got people want to buy these. And I heard a number once. I heard every 43 seconds, some Ford dealer sells an F-150. Every 43 seconds, all day, every day. They build hundreds of thousands of these trucks. Hundreds of thousands. I say it over and over. I'm a broken record. You know what I'm about to tell you. The auto industry is capital intensive. These folks deal in millions and billions of dollars. Their lead times are long. Again, just by adding 1 more truck an hour makes them $250 million. 1. $250 million. That's the industry. This is the sandbox that automakers play in globally. These are the decisions they make. This is why they do what they do. It's also why they are so relentless on cost containment. Because pennies become dollars, become millions of dollars. If they're not paying attention, it becomes billions real quick. And it don't take much. And trying to make all these parts work. And they're building these, by the way, in America. Just so you know. In the United States of America. And in case you didn't know, most of the Fords are built in the United States, that are sold in the United States. And Ford has the highest percentage of American-built trucks by Americans sold in America, more than any other automaker. They're all in. So this is a good thing. And can you imagine how much better things will be? The Wagoneer S is an iconic, storied name in Jeep lore with a new mission. My insights and review are next. You are listening to the Tech Mobility Show.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show.
Every great business starts with a spark, but taking it to the next level takes strategy, connections, and capital. That's where Playbook Investors Network comes in. We're your strategic partner for accelerating growth, navigating challenges, and capturing market opportunities before your competition does. Your business is more than an idea. Let's make it an impact. Playbook Investors Network. Your future starts here. Learn more at pincommunity.org.
Some picnics are no picnic. Everybody's there. With the Jeep Wagoneer, you can do better. A lot better. This is the one family wagon with everything. Famous Jeep four-wheel drive and rugged components to take you off the road. Luxurious interiors to make your trip comfortable. The stylish but rugged Jeep Wagoneer. A great way to get away. Jeep. Toughest four-letter word on wheels.
Impressive, isn't it? That was from 1973. 1973. The Wagoneer name has been in Jeep lore for over 60 years. It's an iconic nameplate that predates Stellantis, Jeep's current parent, and 4 of the predecessor companies that built it. Talk about iconic. The first body-on-frame Wagoneer is the original full-size SUV-style design that was produced relatively unchanged from 1962 by Kaiser Jeep to 1991 by the time Kaiser Jeep got bought by AMC, which then got bought by Chrysler. So when they stopped it in 91, it was Chrysler building it. For 1993, the nameplate moved to the smaller unibody compact XJ platform that was shared with the new Cherokee. The nameplate was dropped at that time in 1994. Fast forward to 2022. Jeep introduced the 4th generation Wagoneer as a full-size SUV that is now based on the Ram 1500 truck chassis. Production of the Wagoneer started in 2021. In a fit of nameplate contortion, though, Jeep introduced the Wagoneer S SUV in 2024. This is where it gets funky. The current Wagoneer is still in production, still truck-based, based on the Ram half-ton. The all-electric Wagoneer S, which is what I'm talking about, is actually a completely different vehicle. Featuring smaller dimensions than the regular gasoline-powered Wagoneer, the Wagoneer S rides on the automakers' STLA large unibody platform, sharing little else with regards to exterior and interior design. Are you confused yet? So let's see, we got Grand Wagoneer, Wagoneer, and Wagoneer S. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'll explain later. Offered in launch and limited models, power for the Wagoneer S is delivered by a 100.5 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion nickel manganese cobalt battery pack. Let me stop there. Nickel manganese cobalt. This is a battery with the highest density in the marketplace. When you hear the words nickel manganese cobalt, they are using a top-shelf, high-intensity, high-density electric battery. There are other chemistries, but this is the top of the heap. It delivers power to 2 electric motors, 1 in each axle for a 4-wheel drive experience. The launch model produces 600 horsepower and 617 foot-pounds of torque, while the limited model generates 500 horsepower and 524 foot-pounds of power. That's a lot. A single-speed transfer case manages its Go capabilities with a variable front-rear torque split in auto, sport, eco, snow, and sand drive modes. The driving range for this is 294 miles between charges, which works out to 2.93 miles per kilowatt hour. And I've said this before, and if you've never heard me use miles per kilowatt hour, quick explanation, I do that because the EPA equivalents are worthless. I equate battery power, kilowatts, in the battery to gallons in your gas tank. So when I say 30 miles a gallon, you know what I'm talking about. This is relative to how many miles you can travel on 1 kilowatt hour of energy. Substitute gallons for kilowatt hours, and you're there. 2.93 miles per kilowatt hour. Cargo capacity is 61 cubic feet. Payload capacity is 1,033 pounds. Towing capacity is meh at 3,500 pounds. There are other vehicles smaller and cheaper that will haul that at 3,500. Ford Maverick comes to mind immediately. Mazda CX-50 also will do 3,500 pounds. Here's what I liked about the Wagoneer S. This is one of the few times that I got to drive a vehicle twice, different times, prior to sharing my driving impressions. My first introduction was an event back in October just outside of Chicago. And despite its 4XE designation, and just to clarify, on other Jeep models, it signifies a hybrid, but this is a pure electric. And this pure electric Jeep is the brand's first. Performance is what you would expect for a near luxury EV, strong and responsive, and that it was. One pedal driving is a plus to optimizing vehicle efficiency and control. And because it doesn't have to deal with packaging a gasoline-powered engine up front, its lower firewall yields a good outward view of the road, even for short drivers. Displays, controls, and switchgear are presented in a tasteful arrangement. The panoramic glass sunroof adds to the airiness of the cabin. And there's an additional storage capacity under the cargo area floor. So here's what I didn't like about the Wagoneer S. It's a shame that all Jeeps are not trail rated, and I've lamented this before. It's even worse that you got to pay extra for that capability, which the automaker has always boasted is a core strength for the brand. And if you hear me a little wound, I am. The Wagoneer S seems to be a bit of bland Me Tooism. Its retail pricing puts it at the beginning of the upper luxury segment, which is crowded with worthy contenders powered by a variety of choices. And on top of that, a lack of a spare tire, especially important because EVs are usually heavier than their gasoline counterparts, and likewise also the tire and rim combinations, and this one is carrying a 20-inch tire, which makes me concerned about availability. Less so because you're looking at 22-inch and 24-inch these days too, probably less of an issue than it was years past, but still. And for the record, the tires that come shod with are not run flats. You should know that. So what's the bottom line on the Wagoneer S? Well, let me be blunt with you. When it comes to the Jeep brand, the Wagoneer S, in my estimation, is the most un-Jeep looking Jeep ever. The branding is confusing. It doesn't share its chassis with the larger Wagoneer. And buyers are going to really wonder exactly what it is, because it doesn't look like the Wagoneer, the gasoline Wagoneer, which is the cheaper version of the Grand Wagoneer. Yeah, Stellantis and Jeep got themselves confused here. Even though it's manufactured in Mexico, EVs are having a tough time right now, and there are plenty of other choices, especially at this price point. And can they even produce a hybrid? I really don't know where this fits as part of their overall brand message. I'm scratching my head here. The base manufacturer suggested retail price for the 2025 Jeep Wagoneer S EV starts from $65,200 for the limited and $70,200 for the launch edition. Destination charges add $1,995. Editor's note: as of this writing As of the writing of this review in January 2026, Jeep is offering rebates of $7,750, that's $7,750 to $9,250 on the Wagoneer S. Check with your local Jeep dealer for details. And I'm seeing a lot of this with EVs. You might check because it might be a heck of a deal if this is what you really want. Personal finance chaos is becoming America's hidden economic crisis. That's next. This is the Tech Mobility Show.
You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.
Did you know that Tech Mobility has a YouTube channel? Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Each week, I upload a few short videos of some of the hot topics that I cover during my weekly radio program. I've designed these videos to be informative and entertaining. It's another way to keep up on current mobility and technology news and information. Be sure to watch, like, and subscribe to my channel. That's the Tech Mobility Show on YouTube. Check it out. There's a hidden economic crisis that's happening right now in America, but you won't find it in the headlines. Across the country, Americans are facing rising healthcare costs, high mortgage rates, food prices, and layoff worries. It's leading to many uncomfortable conversations at the kitchen table about how to move forward, how bills and life priorities will be handled. This is Topic B. Can you imagine for a minute? A lot of us are in what you call the gig economy. It is that down through the last 10 years, we've done some business here, done a gig there, belonging to outfits like Upwork and Fiverr, where we're able to take our talents, make them available to the world for a price, work our own hours, live our best life. Here's the problem. Prices. Right now, if you're buying your own insurance, you've probably gotten the shock of your life. If you are on Medicare, you have seen your premiums go up, and probably your copays are going up too. If you're on fixed income, that's a big deal. If you're not on fixed income, you're trying to deal with all of this stuff, and I didn't even talk about childcare, if you can even get it, at any price. That's been a problem for years. But if I was to sum this up and everything that's going on, the hidden crisis in the American economy is personal insecurity. How will I pay health care? Okay, what if I decide, okay, I will take a plan with just catastrophic coverage and hope I don't get sick or get hurt? What about my wife if she is diabetic and mine is? How does that work? Because some of these medications are very expensive. There's one shot my wife gets, and we've got insurance, but the insurance doesn't cover it because in some convoluted way, in order for it to cover it, you got to get the shot at the hospital, but you can't get it at the hospital. So if you get it in the doctor's office, it's $300. Every shot she gets twice a year. If you're on a fixed income, that's a challenge. Add into that the cost of owning a vehicle, even if it's paid off. Our vehicles are very sophisticated these days. So you've got all kinds of sensors and all kinds of things that folks 40 years ago didn't have to worry about. And that's just to keep the thing running. And did I mention insurance? The price of gasoline? Tires? I put tires on my wife's car and my car maybe 3 years, 4 years ago. And a decent set of tires for my car, 2018 Equinox, nothing fancy, was $700. And that did not include the $160 in additional money I spent to get them mounted, balanced, and put on the car. People trying to figure out right now, what do I do? Prices are up. Jobs are not stable. My money, as far as an employee, is not increasing. While the pandemic did help the lower end of folk make more money, if you're in the middle, you found your money getting squeezed, your buying power was going down, but your wages were not going up during the most productive part of your working life, where wealth generally gets created for most people. From about 25 to about 55 years old is where most wealth gets created for folks in the working world. As you make your way up through companies, you gain experience, you get promotions, you make more money. That's not happening now. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the 600-pound gorilla in the room, AI. If you're at the low end, we've covered here on this program what AI is doing to low-end jobs. And if you don't have a low-end job to start, how can you move up the ladder gaining experience if those rungs in the ladder aren't even there anymore? So you ask yourself, what do you do? What do you do? If you're fortunate enough to get a trade, plumbing, electric, carpenter, you've mitigated that somewhat, but again, that's construction related and it kind of depends. Better probably to be a plumber and an electrician, because as long as you've got electricity and anything that runs, water or sewage, folks are going to need you. Carpenter, a little more tough, because that's typically new construction or remodeling. And in either case, tied to mortgage rates. What about being an auto mechanic? Well, we talked about that. There's some schooling that's involved. It takes time, but it's also more complicated. It's less backbreaking and more mind-bending in terms of being able to read programs and do programming and check diagnostics and do all that kind of stuff. What if you're in the middle? If you're middle management, 40, 50 years ago, middle management was the way to go. If you've watched the A&E series Mad Men, you saw middle management America. Folks in white shirts and shirt sleeves and ties, secretaries and all that, the good life. That was middle America. Upwardly mobile. Not such a thing anymore. What do you do? Folks are stressed. Folks are stressed. One person said it's the double whammy of skyrocketing premiums and also skyrocketing costs of actually getting care. They're talking about personal insurance, health insurance. We are literally at a point where we can't afford to be sick and we can't afford to be healthy. Absolutely. And if you're like most Americans over a certain age, you're taking a certain number of medications probably daily. What happens when they're either not available or the cost goes up? What are you going to do? There's ways to mitigate it, but not that many. This piece talks about, and this is from Business Insider, that some of the insecurity is also a result of decades of structural weakness coming to bear. Policymakers have long neglected issues such as the exploding cost of childcare, lagging housing inventory, and a broken healthcare system. The accumulated bill is coming due at a time when the cyclical economy is teetering, meaning up and down, which is the normal scheme of things. What do you do? What do you do? And then, again, inflation. Let me ask you, when's the last time you had a steak? Think about that for a minute. A beef steak, a nice, delicious steak. The last time I was in the grocery store looking at steak, I couldn't afford it. Didn't buy it. At this point, I'm looking at hamburger kind of crazy because in where I live, even modest hamburger is between $7 and $8 a pound for a hamburger, 1 pound of hamburger. Needless to say, I'm eating a lot more fish and chicken these days. Used to be you could afford a hamburger if you couldn't afford anything else. And my avoidance of red meat is not because I suddenly decided to go vegan. It's because I can't afford it. Because I'm watching my pennies like everybody else in terms of my food costs. And I'm watching everything else go up. So I got to make decisions because I do the shopping in our family. Multiply that times households across America. And now you get in the picture. We got bills to pay. You pay the electric bill or you buy the groceries. You choose to put gas in your car or you go without. You make decisions. Do I Do I refill that prescription this month? Or do I skip a month and hopefully I'll catch it next month and do every other month maybe? These are decisions people are having to make in real time right now. Closing thought for you. Here in Iowa, in Metro Des Moines, our major food bank is pushing out a day 50 tons of food a day. Online car service Carvana uses instant bank payments to streamline the car buying experience. What does that mean for you? We are the Tech Mobility Show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. That's techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Did you know that Tech Mobility has a YouTube channel? Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Each week, I upload a few short videos of some of the hot topics that I cover during my weekly radio program. I've designed these videos to be informative and entertaining. It's another way to keep up on current mobility and technology news and information. Be sure to watch, like, and subscribe to my channel. That's the Tech Mobility Show on YouTube. Check it out. Carvana has transformed the way people buy cars, making it possible to browse, finance, and purchase a vehicle entirely online. To bring that same level of innovation to the payment experience, Carvana has partnered with Plaid, an American financial services company based in San Francisco that has built a data transfer network that powers fintech and digital finance products. This is Topic C. Let me start with a show of hands here. Have you, or more importantly, would you consider buying a car, new or used, online without ever setting foot in a dealership? And more importantly, without ever test driving it? I'm a person of a certain age. I can tell you for me, answer's no. Answer's no. My kids hate the car buying process. The last cars they bought, I helped them buy. They don't want anything to do with it. They hate everything about it. They probably would. But I'm a person of a certain age, and for me, from experience, I want to know what I'm getting. I want to experience it before I get it. I want to drive. I want to compare. I want to kick the tires. I want to walk the lots. I want to get an idea in the flesh, in touching actual sheet metal, what it is you're offering, and if I'm interested in buying it. There's some things that pictures and 360 views online just don't translate. They don't. Now, online is good for research. I think it's important everybody should do their research. I've said that a million times, that before you ever deal with a dealer, get pre-approved for your loan, do your homework, and have some idea of, one, what it is you're looking for, two, what it is you want, three, what you're willing to spend. Know that before you get there. And four, be fair. Fairness cuts both ways. They're in the business, folks. They're not going to do it for free. But you got to have an idea what fair is. And if you haven't done the homework, you have no clue. Buyer beware is for real. There, as a friend of mine used to say, they're in the business. Their business is to sell you a vehicle and optimize the profit from that sale. That's called capitalism, and it's only fair. Carvana has tapped into the fact that most people do not like haggling, do not like the car buying experience at all. They even have a money-back guarantee, even if they deliver it to you and you decide you don't like the car. The part that always bothers me, though, is okay, if I bought a car from Carvana, I get it, I drive it for 4 days, maybe I put 300 or 400 miles on it, decide, you know what, no. Do I get charged for the miles I put on it? What kind of liability do I have for mileage? Particularly, okay, maybe I got a 7-day money-back guarantee and I drove it 100 miles a day. I got 1,000 miles more on it than it was when you sold it to me, meaning it's worth a little less. How does that work? And I've never really gotten a straight answer about that. But this piece kind of talks about going to the next mile. Carvana wants to make this as seamless as possible because one of the things they do, they want to quantify you, qualify you, and they want to make sure if they're going to hit you for a down payment, once you've made the deal, that there's money in the account and they don't end up triggering a non-sufficient funds fee because maybe you didn't move the money in there quick enough, or maybe you didn't think you had it, but you didn't have it, whatever. They're working with Plaid. The whole point is with Plaid, Carvana's customers can connect to their bank accounts and start making affordable ACH payments in a matter of seconds. Even better, Plaid's balance checks prevent painful, non-sufficient charge fees. They talked about the process back in the day with Carvana. That if you're going to make a payment, you had to grab your checkbook, you had to read numbers, assume everybody got your numbers right, your transit numbers, your account numbers. If you got to verify it with the bank, it had to be during banking hours. Carvana wants to make this possible where you can buy a vehicle from them 24/7. So they needed a methodology to verify and make painless, remove the pain points of the actual payment process. They teamed with Plaid. FinTech. If you don't understand the term, it's financial tech. These companies that are using technology, AI, algorithms, and the like, to remove the pain points of doing business, borrowing money, saving money, buying stocks, FinTech company. That's what that means in a nutshell. In the case of Plaid, they're about money transfer. They wanted to protect Carvana, protect the customer, allow Carvana to make it seamless, but still allow them to sell a car 24/7. That if for some reason you're up late at night and that's when you want to do your research and make the deal and make the down payment, you could. Because Plaid now makes it easy for you to log into your bank through Carvana without having to remember all this other stuff. And they check, you got the money, put the down payment, all is well. I don't know how I feel about that. But then again, I'm a little skeptical. I am a believer in doing your research. I am a believer in looking at websites and getting information and comparing. Absolutely. It's how I bought my Equinox. But in the end, I drove 120 miles to test drive it. And the vehicle I went to look at ended up not being the vehicle I bought, which is a good thing if you're looking at used vehicles. Too many variables. I would never be comfortable buying a used vehicle online. That's just me. Too many variables. I have to take everything in your word. And then there's the issue that, all right, even if you've got a money back guarantee, if things don't work out or I don't like it or it was misrepresented in some way, it's still time and money and effort on my part. I don't want to be bothered. I want to do this once and be through with it. I want to know that what I'm buying is what I want and that it is properly represented in condition, mileage, style, equipment, and everything. And the only way I found that to be 100% is to lay eyes on it, put your hands on it, and take it for a spin before you put any money down. And I'm still that way. Carvana has some success. They're by no means the only company. There's companies called Driveway, there's Drive, some others I can't think of right now that are doing the same thing. So obviously there is a demand for this kind of service. But buyer beware, as always, particularly in the auto industry. Too many things can go wrong. At some point, you should always test drive the vehicle before you buy it. Take somebody with you who is a mechanic, or take it to your favorite mechanic shop, have them do a once-over before you buy it. Know what you're getting if you're buying used. If you're buying new, make sure the deal is reputable. And that means buy local if you can, because that way you know, and they'll stand behind it, because they got too much to lose to do otherwise. Would you buy a car online from Carvana no matter how easy they made it? I wouldn't. But there's a number of people who do, and if anything, Carvana is trying to make it even easier to do. Easier is fine, but it doesn't substitute for research and knowing that you know.
This is the Tech Mobility Podcast.
Every great business starts with a spark, but taking it to the next level takes strategy, connections, and capital. That's where Playbook Investors Network comes in. We're your strategic partner for accelerating growth, navigating challenges, and capturing market opportunities before your competition does. Your business is more than an idea. Let's make it an impact. Playbook Investors Network. Your future starts here. Learn more at pincommunity.org.
To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.